So to start, we're going to have the Bowdrill. The Bowdrill is probably the easiest method for creating fire by friction, but it requires the most components. The hand drill only requires a spindle and a hearth. The components of a Bowdrill are, first, a bow. This is with the hickory cordage that we just made. It should be strong enough for what we're going to be doing. You want the bow to have a nice curve to it, and you want the cordage strong because it's going to be taking a lot of abuse. Second part is a bearing block or a handhole, and this you'll hold in your hand. The bow will be here, going back and forth, and the spindle will be inside this. This is a rock that I found in Indiana, and I took another rock and just pecked. It had a hole started, but I just pecked another hole until it was deep enough, and then over the years it just has a nice glossy finish inside, so that I rarely have to grease the spindle, and I get all the friction on the bottom of the spindle where we want it. Now the important part. This is the spindle. I think this particular one is made from cottonwood. It's about 8 inches long. It sits up like this. The bow wraps around it. Like so. With the handhold sitting on top of it. That's where you apply your pressure, is with the handhold. And you want all your friction to be down here in the bottom of the spindle. The last part is the hearth or the fireboard. This is made out of cottonwood. You have your hole, and then you cut a slice of pie, I guess you could say, about a quarter of the entire hole out. And what this does is, when the spindle is spinning back and forth, the edges of the notch will bite off little chunks of dust, and they'll form in this notch. And once the dust gets hot enough, it forms a coal, and that's what we're after. So let's take a closer look at the notch and how to create it. As you can see here, this is the notch. It's roughly a quarter of the pie hole. And again, what's going to happen, you'll see as we begin to form our coal, that the spindle will spin back and forth, and little chunks of dust will form down here, and that's what our coal will be. There's 3 components to fire by friction, and that's speed, oxygen, and pressure. And you need all 3 to form the coal. We'll get the speed from the bow, we'll get the pressure from the handhole, and then the oxygen comes from the notch. And you may see that instead of the spindle being straight up like this, we may kick it out just a little, and that will give a little oxygen to the dust to help form a coal. That goes good with all friction fires. You'll see me explain that with the hand drill as well. It's an important fact to remember if you want to be successful with fire by friction. So what materials do we use for the Bowdrill? Well, there's a variety of materials you can use. For this Bowdrill, I'm going to use yucca for my spindle. A lot of guys don't like yucca. They think it's a little too hard. But I find that it works for me, and that's what you have to find for you. For my fireboard, I'm going to be using a piece of cottonwood. And I like cottonwood with a yucca spindle. It's always worked for me, even in the rain, so I think it's a great combination. For the fireboard, you can use willow, sumac, sassafras, sycamore, tulip poplar, aspen. There's a variety of wood to try to use. You don't want it too hard and you don't want it too soft. What you do want to do is poke it with your thumbnail, and if you leave a little indentation, that's good. That's probably a good wood to try. If you have to press real hard to leave an indentation, it's probably too hard, and if you crumble through it, it's probably too soft. For the spindle, you can use, again, sassafras, yucca, willow, cottonwood, sycamore, tamarack. The same characteristics of the fireboard are what you're looking for in the spindle. You want to be able to press your thumbnail into it, and you want it to be medium hardness. Out west they use different materials, different species. I'm not sure, but out east you can use the ones I listed, or try something in your area and see if you can find something that works better for you. This is the position. Left foot or right, depending what you want. Left foot down, holding the fireboard. Take your spindle. I take the friction end, put it up, turn it, so it's like that. Now what you may see me do is I may press the cordage with my fingers, and what this does is tightens it while I'm spinning back and forth, and that will help to let the dust build up so that we can have a coal. And this cordage hopefully will last for this bow drill. The other thing I want to show you is you take the top end and you want to grease it. And how you grease it is hair oil, or, sounds a little gross but it works, earwax. And what that does is allows for less friction at the top, more friction at the bottom, more dust, and produces a coal, hopefully. So let's go. Now the coal's in the tinder bundle, so now we just have to blow out the flames.